Good evening, everybody. It's your favorite aspiring classicist here, a wandering author, reminding you that we are all the authors of our own lives. As always, my message remains the same. Spend less, live more, earn your freedom with frugality. And I have a question for you guys tonight. What is the difference between a king and a tyrant? Well, a tyrant studies his own advantage, a king that of his subjects. Meaning, a king pays attention to what is best for his subjects. And in this chapter of Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics, chapter 10, we're going to be discussing three different forms of constitution and then the three perversions of that constitutional form. So there is, let's go ahead and get started. Now there are three forms of constitution and also an equal number of perversions or corruptions of those forms. The constitutions are kingship, aristocracy, and thirdly, a constitution based on property classification, which it seems appropriate to describe as timocratic, although most people are accustomed to speak of it merely as a constitutional government or republic. The best of these constitutions is kingship, and the worst, timocracy. The perversion of kingship is tyranny, but both are monarchies, but there is a wide difference between them. A tyrant studies his own advantage, a king that of his subjects. For a monarch is not a king if he does not possess independent resources, and is not better supplied with goods of every kind than his subjects. But a ruler so situated lacks nothing, and therefore will not study his own interests, but those of his subjects. A king who is not independent of his subjects will be merely a sort of titular king. Tyranny is the exact opposite in this respect, for the tyrant pursues his own good. The inferiority of tyranny among the perversions is more evident than that of timocracy among the constitutions, for the opposite of the best must be the worst. When a change of constitution takes place, kingship passes into tyranny, because tyranny is the bad form of monarchy, so that a bad king becomes a tyrant. Aristocracy passes into oligarchy owing to the badness in the rulers, who do not distribute what the state has to offer according to desert. Meaning according to like what people have earned, merit, or something along those lines, but give all or most of its benefits to themselves, and always assign the offices to the same persons because they set supreme value on riches. Thus, the power is in the hands of a few bad men instead of being in the hands of the best men. Now, timocracy passes into democracy, and he's talking about like direct democracy, where all of the people approve all of like every legislative action that's taken. There being an affinity between them inasmuch as the ideal of democracy also is government by the mass of the citizens, and within the property qualification all are equal. Democracy is the least bad of the perversions, for it is only a very small deviation from the constitutional form of government. These are the most common ways in which revolutions occur in state, since they involve the smallest change and come about most easily. One may find likenesses, and so to speak models, of these various forms of constitution in the household. The relationship of father to son is regal in type, since a father's first care is for his children's welfare. This is why Homer styles Zeus father, for the ideal kingship is paternal government. Among the Persians, paternal rule is tyrannical, for the Persians use their son as slaves, which that tells you a lot about how the Greeks saw Persia, right? For the Persians use their son as slaves. The relation of master to slave is also tyrannic, since in it the master's interest is aimed at. So to me, it seems like Aristotle was pretty progressive for his day and age. The relation of husband to wife seems to be in the nature of an aristocracy. The husband rules in virtue of fitness, and in matters that belong to a man's sphere. Matters suited to a woman he hands over to his wife. When the husband controls everything, he transforms the relationship into an oligarchy, for he governs in violation of fitness and not in virtue of superiority. And sometimes, when the wife is an heiress, it is he who rules. In these cases, then, the authority goes not by virtue, but by wealth and power, as in an oligarchy. The relation between brothers constitutes a sort of democracy. There are equals, save in so far as they differ in age. Hence, if the divergence in age be great, the friendship between them cannot be of the fraternal type. Democracy appears most fully in households without a master, for in them all the members are equal. But it also prevails where the ruler of the house is weak, and everyone is allowed to do what he likes. Yeah, and then that's pretty much the end of this chapter. Tomorrow we'll go over chapter 11, which he goes over each of these forms of government a little bit more in depth. But a couple things that stand out to me is Aristotle says democracy is the worst form of government. Now, he doesn't mean democracy like what we have today. He means direct democracy. And Aristotle's favorite form of government, or he says at least the best, I guess maybe it's not his favorite, is kingships. And I guess in some ways, all you need is one good man in that case to run things. And if it is a good man, then you'll be like a king that, puts his subjects' welfare ahead of his own, like a father puts the welfare of his son ahead of his own. But those ideas seem very foreign to at least me as an American today. I'm not sure. What do you guys think about them? Feel free to drop a comment down below. Like, share, and subscribe this. What are y'all doing in order to inspire, uplift, and empower your local community today? Because this world isn't changing unless we all do our part. And you can count on me to do mine daily. Until next time, I love y'all.